I mean, when I first got discharged, I was on a lot of new medications. It was a lot of adjustment, a lot of crying also. I think I was experiencing like hormones.
Even if these thoughts remain, you don't feel like they're as strong anymore, or you feel like you'll be able to get through it.
You just count like 5 things. So 5 things you can hear. So like this one, that E sound. Or like,
Hello and welcome to the Birth of a Mother video podcast series by Clarity Singapore. We are a mental health charity that serves people from all walks of life. I also promise that this episode will be diving deep into the topic of postpartum anxiety and depression. So I'm really excited to introduce to you today's special guest, Bernadette.
hello.
Okay. Bernadette is a mother to a 3-year-old child, and she's also expecting her second child that's
Yes,
due
in
in June, right? Yeah. She's married to an Englishman, and the couple actually went through a very long journey of ups and downs ever since her first diagnosis with major depressive disorder back in 2015. Okay, and despite managing cultural differences as well as personal challenges, they have really emerged from the darkness, and she's here today to share with us her experience. Okay, Ben, how about we get the conversation started? Can you share with our viewers and listeners what your journey of motherhood is like?
Okay, so maybe we can start off from when I met my husband, because I think the whole thing was a very quick process. So we met during COVID period, when we were both period in 2020, and then in 2021 we had Riley, our 3-year-old, and everything happened really quickly. It was unplanned. We didn't plan to have kids. In fact, before I had kids, I hated kids. So so it was unplanned, but we decided to keep it. We got married the same year as we had the baby. So everything happened pretty quickly. We had to become a spouse. We had to become a parent. We had to adjust to each other's cultural and background differences. So it was a very challenging period of time. Throughout the pregnancy, it was just it was very surreal because I was clueless. I didn't know what to
difficult to
prepare.
process, right?
Yeah, so I actually didn't like my first thought when I found out that I was pregnant. It was already 12 weeks, like 3 months. I was 3 months into it already. So the first feeling that I got was anger, like, oh my god, why did you get me pregnant, you know? And I thought like, oh, I will go to the doctor myself. I get it, like, you know, get rid of it, you know, go and abort. But when I saw her heartbeat and everything, I'm like, well, I can't do it. So
It was the heartbeat for you.
yeah, I think
moment.
and the whole baby is like already formed. So yeah, so eventually, I mean, my husband was the one that he is always open to like having kids. He wants a kid. Yeah.
He was more sure about it right from the very beginning,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so you were sharing with me that, you know, when you first had Riley, there was a lot of anger, right? You really
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with it. Well, on the other hand, you know, your husband was very sure from the start. There must have been a lot of like dissonance with that, right? Like even the decision to keep Riley.
Yeah, because it was really like, how are we going to have a kid together? He was still studying in Singapore, and I actually just got discharged from IMH. So before that, I think my body actually went through a lot, because in December 2020 I was admitted for an overdose, like what is it called?
Overdose.
Yeah, suicide attempt, and then I got my stomach pumped out and everything. And then when I was discharged February, I think I got pregnant in February.
Oh, that was really sad.
Yeah. So initially when I first got discharged, I was on a lot of new medications. It was a lot of adjustment, a lot of crying also. So when I think I was experiencing like hormones, you know, but I thought
You didn't know it then.
yes, I thought it was just a depression, you know, it's just me adjusting to new medication. Maybe I'm still depressed, you know.
You've been providing us snippets really of what postpartum depression and anxiety really looks like, you know, but actually a lot of moms also don't really know what that means. Like, would it be okay if you can summarize or like, you know, describe for us and our viewers what is your experience of postpartum depression?
I think a few that you have pointed out to me also, because for me I feel like everything is kind of like muddled. Very similar to the depression I experienced even before I became a mom. I mean, definitely the emotions where, like, I would say maybe the reaction to some things where like people without depression, they'll just brush it off, or like they'll cry and then they'll be okay. But if you're experienced like depression, if you're experiencing a depressive episode, probably you just can't get out of it. I just remember this time when she was a bit older, she could just sit down upright and like play with toys. And I felt like, I just need to like entertain her the whole time. But I was just exhausted lah. Like I wasn't there. I think at that point in time, it was very hard to be there. I don't know where my mind was also. I think it's just that it was just depression, but I didn't realize. It's like your body is there, but your mind is not there.
You really want to be present. You find it really hard to.
And sometimes I feel like all the fatigue and all that, it looks like, this pregnant person is not doing anything, just like lying down and resting, but a lot is happening inside. Grow a baby, grow a new life. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to bring up a point also when I was at KK, right? And I'm like, I got so emotional to the point that I'm like, if anything happens to me, never mind lah, Like, anyway, Riley is in good hands. The similar thoughts that occurred to me when I was very depressed, when Riley was born. Like, if I'm there with her, right, and I can't be there, and I feel like, someone can do a better job, then I will be like, just, like, if I go also, never mind. Got so many people, like, care about her, can take care of her, Recently we had this family trip to see my in-laws, because right now they're retiring in Thailand. So Christmas is a big thing for my English family. And then we spent 2 weeks with them in Thailand, and we were all like counting down, wow, very excited for the trip. But when I was there, I was just, I think mostly I was in the room crying, was puking and crying a lot. And then I just had this fear of like going out to see everyone, just like social anxiety. But I was crying so much to the point that, you cry so hard, I feel like, oh my God, am I going to cry this baby away?
Yes.
Yeah, and then I dare not tell anyone about this. I knew my husband was going to be very upset. I texted a friend and she was like, Choi, don't say this kind of things.
What you just described actually is a really, really important point, right? There's a lot of crying in postpartum depression, or even antenatal depression when you're pregnant, right? And these symptoms overlaps with major depressive disorder. There's a lot of crying, there's a lot of scary thoughts, right? Thoughts perhaps also moving very, really quickly that you can't even put the correct words to it sometimes. Because when you are in the midst of it, it's kind of like you described, right? Your mind becomes very like muddled. You're not really sure what's really going on. You're kind of in a fog and you feel really, really trapped, right? And it's difficult, right? When you garner the courage to want to tell someone about it, whether it's your friend or your husband, it's even harder when they try to say, don't cry. Like, I say, Choi, don't say that, right? But actually, this is the exact reason why you feel so scared, isn't it? When was that when you decided to seek therapy?
It took a few tries, because the first time when I was diagnosed, IMH did assign me with a therapist. I mean, she did her job, but I had a lot of trust issues. I'm like, what can I tell you? What you going to record? Who you going to tell? Like, are you sure? All these things. But it's okay to ask such questions.
Yes, definitely.
She will tell me, I like, it won't be revealed unless like, you are going to harm yourself or you're going to harm someone. Then of course I'll have to get someone involved, that kind of thing. But I mean, ever since then, I just hated therapy. I'm like, I don't know what's the point. So clarity, right? Actually, my friend was the one who fixed the appointment for me and dragged me there. And that was when I found my match. Like,
it's like speed dating, right? You have to go through a few therapies until you find one that you can vibe with.
Cindy, my therapist, she specializes in maternal mental health, right? Which I didn't realize also until I became a mom. So she has always been there lah. When I have problems with work, or when I want to get off medication, or I have a relapse, career change, Cindy was always there lah. It's the frequency of sessions. It's either like when I'm very unwell, I meet her every week. When I'm well, then it stretch out to like every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, or like she'll be like, okay, so this one like I keep it open dated. If you need me, you call me. If not, we close the case.
Was there anything that she taught you that still helps you today?
I think it's the grounding one. Like, I think I had this problem of like, I was unable to stop crying. Like, I was just, I'm still a like cry baby. Like, I cannot stop crying. But grounding, like she taught me, you just count like 5 things. So 5 things you can hear. So like this one, that E sound. Or like,
All the silence,
or like
right?
5 things that you can feel, like maybe like your feet on the sock, the thing on your shoulder.
It's getting connected with your senses again, right?
Yeah. So it kind of
Yeah.
like distracts your brain from all that. So this is like one very important tool that I still use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like therapy is not just a place where you get to talk about your dark thoughts, the heavy ones, the ones that you're really afraid of sharing or being judged with. But therapy also teaches you some coping strategies.
Yeah.
Right? Like to get you connected with your body so that even if these thoughts remain, you don't feel like they're as strong anymore. Or you feel like you'll be able to get through it.
So sometimes I feel like, I think the major thing that really helped me like communicate with my husband is really just telling him to like keep quiet and be there. Because I think a lot of times during our first pregnancy where I was crying, right, he gets scared because he don't know how to deal with it. So he'll just be like, why are you crying? Don't cry, you know? Don't cry. And then he will just go away. It's okay, nothing to cry about. And then he will just step away. But after we had like couples therapy, we found out that he's just actually worried. Like he doesn't know, like he's maybe he's scared he may make it worse. Or he just don't know how to deal with like someone who is like crying so much.
Yeah,
He just
for
wants to
sure.
stop it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes from wanting to just stop it. Like for us, we think like dark thoughts because we just want it to stop. You know, it's not that we want to die or like we just want the pain to stop, you know.
Yeah.
And I think our loved ones want the same for us.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's what they do to like try and stop it, you know.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I think you brought up a really beautiful point. Sometimes it's not that people don't want to help you or people try to enforce their opinions on you, but rather they really don't know how to help as well. Yeah, and that's when professional help really comes in. Speaking from the other side of the table, because I'm also part of the maternal mental health team in Clarity. Just a very quick introduction. Like what Bern was describing, Clarity actually has a Clarity for Moms aspect where we have a team of therapists who specialize in maternal mental health. So this means that everything related to moms from their physical, psychosocial well-being, right? It's not just about depression. It's all the way, everything from distress to wellness. And I guess what you have been describing also is some of the things that we do differently, right? Like in this specialization, in this team, we all have knowledge about the common challenges that moms face. And instead of just like normal coping strategies, also we tend to spend a lot of time talking about the experience of motherhood, the social processes of finding yourself again, how do we find support, both practical as well as emotional. And we look into a more holistic view, right, of the mother's well-being, and that includes her relationships too. You know, Bern, you share with us a lot of the dark thoughts that you had. You know, I'm just wondering, as a mom, have you ever felt like you're not good enough?
I mean, all the time. I think a lot of things you see like online, like on TV, like, you know, like moms. I mean, people show the best moments, right, when they have it together.
Yeah.
Or even when you read books, like people share the best things with you, and I
Things
think
that work, right?
yeah, and a lot of times we don't talk about, you know, when we lose it, or when we don't know something, and when we are figuring it out, we don't really talk about it. So
The moments where you're not quite sure what to do, those are times when you feel not good enough.
yeah, I think not good enough. Like sometimes also, like when I'm too tired, like I don't have the energy to be like, I have this ideal like situation that I want to be, like this ideal mom that I want to be, and if I don't live up to that, then that's when the feeling comes lah. And usually it's when I don't have the energy to be there, always be there, 100% there, or don't have the energy to use the approach that I want with her, like gentle parenting. Yes.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah, and not explaining to her like the never-ending whys. I want to be able to have the patience to explain explain all the 100 reasons why, you know. Yeah, but when I run out of it, then, you know, yeah.
Yeah, then what do you do? What do you do when you run out of it? When you find yourself like being weighed down by so much of these, so many of
Sometimes
these
I just lose it lah, you know. But I think the better part than losing it is to know when to step away and breathe and reset. So that is something that I do sometimes, but I know I'm not successful all the time also, because, you know, we are just humans, right? But I feel like it's very important. Like, this thing was a relief for me to know what is that phrase? The broken then fix it, repair something, rupture and repair.
Yeah, rupture and repair. That's a term we use a lot in therapy.
Yeah. So she can explain lah. So when I learned about this rupture and repair thing, I thought like, okay, maybe it's okay to be, you know, human sometimes. But just make sure that you apologize and explain to your kid after.
Like, any advice or tips before we end off this episode today for moms who are going through dark times and feel like there is no out? Right.
I think really just hang in there, because like I thought a lot about like coming for this podcast and like share all these things. Like, will it be too much, or like will it like relate to anyone at all? But I thought if it helps like just one mom to like just hang in there for a while more, I think that, yeah, because yeah, now when I look back, I'm like so glad that I hung in there. Like, you know, and sometimes there's still the fear of like, you know, once this baby is out, will it be the same thing again? Like, I am scared. I'm actually very scared to like go through the same thing again. And I really hope that if anything similar happens, I will hang in there. Yeah. Because you learn so much from your kids.
Yeah.
And you just like, it's just, you know, I never know that I could love this much, you know, until Riley came out. Yeah. And then now also I cannot imagine like, my heart can expand me for another one, you know.
And that much, right?
Yeah. So still like some similarities of like cluelessness.
Yeah. But at the same time,
same
also
fears.
getting connected with the hope.
Yeah.
Right? The hope that, you know that you have gone through it and you have come out of it.
Yeah. And I'm so sure now that, you know, like, you know, there are days where I like tell myself, wow, I can do this, you know. Then there are days where like I can't do this anymore. But now I'm sure that, you know, I want to keep coming back to like, I can do this, you know. And I know that I keep telling myself it's normal to feel like that, you know. A lot of things is normal. Even my therapist now, when I talk to her, right, she will tell me, you know, all these thoughts are normal. You don't have to come for therapy for everything.
Okay, but if you haven't been to therapy, start first,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Then that gives you the ability to then distinguish for yourself.
Yes.
Right? And that's really the ultimate goal of therapy, to help you become your own therapist.
Yeah.
So you can start to differentiate for yourself which are the ones that are concerning, which are the ones, or there are early warning signs, and what you can do to get out of it.
Yeah. I think it really helps you become more aware. Like, I used to be very reliant on my therapist, like to the point like, oh my god, if this therapist retire, what am I going to do? You know. But for now, it has come to a point where like, you know, I can cope. Just give me some time. Or like, okay, what do I need now?
Yeah.
Go and get help early. But I mean, if it's such a drag to do it, maybe just get your needs met first. If you need to sleep, go and sleep. Don't think too much, just go and sleep. Need to shower, go and shower. Whoever who can help, just say yes, you know. And just get your needs met first. You will definitely feel better to go and look for help after that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
meeting your needs
takes
first.
because it takes time to get better also.
Yeah.
It does take time. Like I had to tweak my medication. It took time to tweak my medication. It took time to like find out what's the routine again, besides like just waking up and crying and deciding whether you want to eat or not, or take a shower or not, you know. Like, so it takes time to recover. So it will be good if or even if it's just nothing big, it's just something small. You have a hunch, you know, mother's hunch very very 准 one lah. So yeah, if you have a hunch for
Like about what you need.
Yeah.
It's the hunch about what you need.
maybe you have a hunch like, hey, I might need like professional help with something. Just go. Yeah, like I said, healthcare professionals, they heard it all before, you know.
Yeah.
And nothing will scare them, you know. Like, yeah. And make time for yourself. Just schedule it in, like, like, because I realized a lot of things. Like even now, right, I will make sure that, okay, I have this meeting with my friend. I schedule it in. I will be there. My husband is coming back for lunch or dinner. I'll make sure that lunch and dinner is there. But then for myself, I like, if got time lor. No time lor. But if you schedule it in and make it happen, like I've been going for like walks in the morning.
Yeah.
Told myself like, you know, like after I send Riley, I will go for a
Yes.
walk, and then by this time I'm done. So
No, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. That's also what I usually try to tell my mummy clients as well, right? When you have so many things to take care of, you usually come last, right? You take care of Riley first, or you take care of your husband first, and then there's usually no time for you, right? Have, don't have, don't have, right? So it's great. It's great that you are
Yeah.
actually scheduling it in. And just to wrap things up, what kind of mom do you dream to be? What kind of mom do you want to be?
Wow, I never thought about this. I
It's a
just
tough
always,
question,
yeah,
right?
I just always hope that I'm like a good enough mom for Riley, that she can go to like a mom that not only like my kids will call when they need help, but also someone that they look up to. So I mean, the first time when I decided to stay home for Riley, it was really like, oh, because I want to be there, I want to be a mom. But then after I stepped out of that, like drowning in my identity, like, just being a mom is my identity, I realized actually I want to do the things I enjoy still, so that she can see like, I had a choice. I don't want her to grow up and then I'm like the mom who are like, because of you I never do this, because of you I never do that, because of you I lost myself, So I want to like strive for things I like also. And that is a challenge for me, so she can see that if mommy can do it, I can do it too, Yeah.
And you're actually modeling
Yeah.
that for her, right? Mums, it's not so much about the quantity. Like, just because you're with your child every day doesn't mean you're building the relationship or the connection that you want, right? So
Yeah, so I think another thing is to really like just be human. Like nowadays, like sometimes it gets too much, right? And then you lose your temper with them.
Yeah.
Or like you shout when you didn't mean to shout. But I would say, sometimes I would be like, sorry, mommy gets angry too. But she gets scared lah. She'll be like, I don't want angry mommy, I don't want angry mommy. Yeah. Or like when she has a meltdown, then I'm the one who have to like be patient with
be
her.
the bigger, stronger, wiser
Yeah.
person, right?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
I would just always assure her that, no matter if you're angry or sad or what, mommy will always love you. And even when mommy is angry, mommy also loves you,
No, actually,
So,
that's great. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing that. There is no perfect parent. No parent will always be patient. In fact, you might not even like your child all the time, right? But you just need to be good enough. Good enough for today, good enough for this moment, and you'll be a good enough parent. All right, mums, if you're going through a tough time, I hope Bern's sharing has given you hope that there is light amidst the darkness, even if it might not be within your reach right now. So if you do take one thing away from today, let it be this: you don't have to do it alone. And this applies to your husbands too, right? Reach out to help, use the national helplines just like what Bern suggested. Seek therapy, seek professional help. And if you need, scan this QR code to find out more. The team here at Clarity will be more than happy to go on this journey with you. Right. Do remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with a mom who needs it. And drop a comment below if you have also gone through a period of darkness that you feel like you can never get out of, right? Because we all have times like that, and we just don't talk enough about it. So thank you again, Bern, for joining us today. See you next time. Bye!